Good morning, David Kirsten, and we are live on Quantum Leap. Good morning, everyone, and how are you guys? Thanks for joining us. Um, I did want to first introduce my co-host Cory Knott, and then we're gonna get to Louise Goeckel after Cory and I do a quick check-in to talk about career success. So, Cory, if you don't mind telling us who you are and what you do, and uh, go ahead and we'll do our brief check-in now.
Hey everyone, Cory and I here with business coach with Take Wing Coaching, and I generally work with purpose-driven entrepreneurs 2 to 5 years in their business and ready to make some kind of leap in scope of their business or even possibly change their focus of their business.
Great. And Cory and I have a collaboration that's coming out, and I have a new program called Rising Star. So that's going to be ahead of schedule. Should be coming along just in about 2 weeks or so. We'll see.
Oh, wow. It's fast. Good.
Yeah, no, and thanks for all your help with that. And your great coaching. And if you haven't checked out his Lift platform, he has these great work days where you can kind of get Cory's advice in a group coaching session about, hey, what do you think of this? So it's a great way to kind of pop in and have some accountability. And with that, we have another career expert, although Louise is a bit different in that she helps people with their careers, and she really has a unique knowledge and skill set that she brings. I think it's really one that Cory and I really share of compassion and care. And with that, I'm just going to let her introduce herself. And it's so great to have you back, Louise, to talk about this important subject today.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Cory. Yeah, it's great to be with you guys. Yeah, these are challenging times and also exciting times. It's all about change. And all about, what do you want? What do you really want? What do you need?
Great. And I know Louise is part of a mastermind of mine a little bit, where we kind of talk about things in the work environment. What are you seeing out there in this work world? I know we've came a long way under COVID. Things are radically different than 2 or 3 years ago. And if you don't mind just kind of recapping kind of where we've been and where we are now, and some trends that you see going forward out there in the work world for folks.
Yeah, I think it's been a very interesting 2 years and plus, and the result is people are not the same. They are changed in some fundamental or even just peripheral way. The accent on work is become much more prominent and visible, and people are actually waking up to, whoa, is this what I want? Is this what I need? Is this really serving me and my purpose, me and my values, how I want to make my contribution? So the isolation and sort of separation we've all felt and are still feeling is real, and it gives us time, if we take it, to discern and think about what's really most important to me going forward. And as our sort of lives are quote unquote threatened or challenged or undermined by outside factors, it requires the individual to be more clear, to have more clarity, to have more sort of understanding of themselves and what do they really want and what are they willing to do. So it's a time for people to take action, but first to think, to reflect, and really come up with some new ideas for themselves. And they just have to be baby steps at first, and then things will unfold.
Great. And I know we started seeing this about a year ago, something called the Great Resignation. Mm-hmm. If you don't mind just commenting on what that is and what you've kind of seen in terms of people leaving their jobs, what's causing that, and do you see that subsiding or changing at all going forward?
Yeah, I think it started when people were leaving low-paying, undervalued, service-oriented jobs in droves, because I think health issues were real, and if it wasn't for themselves, they were leaving the job, it was to take care of a family member. or a member of their family who was in school, because schooling was not available except through your own home, your own resources. And so we're still feeling it, but it's slightly shifted. It hasn't been so much of a blank slate of leaving low-paying service jobs. It's now everything and anything. And so people are seriously looking for the next thing that's going to fit them better, whether it's be their skills, their passions, their economic needs, their location needs, their family lifestyle needs, their also their sort of greater interest in the common good. I think there's been a huge shift to that, I'm hoping, and I think it is playing out more and more as we see it in more diversity, more open to listening, more open to addressing the individual worker as an individual and as a person with their own needs. So it's exciting times. I've been working with people who have been using the last year to get ready for their next move. And they may have come in the door, not literally because we're doing Zoom and phone calls, but they come in the door to see me because they think, I got to leave my job. I got to leave. It's just not good enough. It's awful. And then when we work with it, it's really not as bad as they think, but their yearning for something better is quite strong. And so we're mapping out a plan, and they're often staying in their job until the plan is sort of within reach. And that's good. That's good to have, yourself covered economically.
Great. And since we're good on time, I have a wild card question that I'm also interested in getting Cory's opinion on, and something we talk about on this show about, why do people need a coach to find a job? And, I say this kind of knowing the answer a little bit, but I find the biggest barrier people have is actually deciding, well, hey, I actually should get a coach. That would make a big difference. And, that was a big difference in my life. I know that was a big difference in Cory's lives in a number of ways, where you have somebody else who's helping you with your success versus trying to do it on your own. So I don't know if you have any comments on what you see, the challenges people doing it on your own, and the difference that it can have having a coach, somebody like you, to help them through it. And I do want to hear from Cory on this. I'm turning it over to him after that.
Yeah, I think basically we can't do for ourselves what really other people can see and contribute. We have a blind spot about ourselves, and we also don't appreciate what comes easily to us. The things that we're actually a genius in, a star in, heads above other people, because it's often so easy, we dismiss it. We discount it. We think everybody can do that. What do you mean? It didn't take me anything. I did in my sleep. When in fact, it is your winning ace. It is your secret. It is your secret sauce. It's your genius. And oftentimes someone who is able to see that in others can point that out to you and help you along the way, claim it, integrate it, build on it, and capitalize on it.
That's so well put. I agree wholeheartedly on that. Cory, do you have any comments on that before we move on to the second part of your questions?
Yeah, and I think there's also, while we have those geniuses and everything else as well, there's also the things that sometimes we want to become better at, right? Because I work mostly with business owners, and I've kind of been in that boat for a long time. If we're going back to a career, I know what I am very good at, but there are some things I would like to get better at, right? And to become, maybe a better leader, better manager, working with employees. So stepping up my game within a career job is really no different than stepping up the game within a business. And I see, as an employee, you're your own business owner. You have, you are running a business of yourself within that organization, because nobody else is going to take care of you like you take care of yourself. So if there's something that you want to improve on, if you're yearning for something better, it makes so much sense to have a coach who can help you not only see your genius, as Louise talks about, but also I believe what she helps people with, which is find where they can fit that in and maybe expand on what's possible. And there's also getting out of our comfort zone. I have a great little clip from the movie Defending Your Life, I don't know if you've ever seen that, where it's, the idea is that the afterlife is all about, reviewing how will we dealt with fear in our life. And it's Albert Brooks, of course. So great movie. And there's a scene where he is practicing in front of his wife on taking a new job offer. And he's like, okay, tell me you're going to give me 49,000. Oh, I'm going to give you 49,000. No, I'm not going to take it. I want 64. It's got to be 64. And then she keeps kind of going through that, and he keeps insisting it's going to be 64. Next day he shows up at the job offer. Guy says, we're going to give you 45,000. And he says, I'll take it. And so, having that coach can help us get out of that fear zone too, and help us actually work through the things that we fear when we're dealing with our employees. So to have a better career.
Yeah, but well said. Well said. I think the getting better is you're able to actually focus on that when you feel like you have something to bring to the table.
Absolutely.
That's the next step. Absolutely. And it's, these days, more and more, the career path is your path. It's not an employer's path. It's not a training institution's path. It's not a profession's path. They don't do it for you anymore. It's up to you.
Great. Cory, I'm going to turn it over to you. Oh, you're muted
there. I got it.
Okay.
So, Louise, what is your why? Why do you do what you do? Or why would you?
Yeah, I just love the world of work. And I've always loved helping people. And so putting those two together, I've been through so many different arenas of helping people. I'm always focused on the individual. I might work for a company, but it's always how is the individual doing in that company. I might be coaching an executive CEO, but I'm always like thinking about the little guy, the little person, like how's everything affecting them. So it's that's my phone. I'm going to ignore it. It is all about helping people shine in their work. And when somebody does a great job, I just love it. I love complimenting people on the street in any kind of a setting to really get there, to acknowledge what they're doing and to have them feel how good it is. That is my daughter on the phone. And this is the thing of working at home. Okay, there she goes.
I had an old friend from the neighborhood I reached out to. I didn't know if he still was around even. And he just, as soon as I friended him on Facebook, he's like called me and we spent an hour talking, and it was just kind of funny. It's interesting how COVID has made people feel more isolated and they're reaching out. What is your process for helping your clients?
It's listening, basically, and I can pretty much help anybody at any point on the continuum of being unemployed or unskilled or even unschooled, as all the way through to thinking of retirement or wanting to add on a side hustle or a little gig. So changing careers, starting the first career, refining your career, narrowing your choices, whatever it is that you want to do, I'm there to help. And so I start off with listening to what the issues are right here, right now. And there's no set program, there's no workbook, there's no individual, it's all individual, custom made for each person. And there's an hour at a time. Generally people like an hour and a half is too long. So we meet for an hour, and they have had homework. We go over the homework, and at the end of the session, we schedule and discuss about possible homework for the next step they need to take, because the rubber meets the road in between sessions. I'm the guide, the supporter, the advisor, the cheerleader, the coach, the mentor, but I'm not the person in the seat. And the driver is the individual, and they need to be ready to make some changes and start thinking differently. It's great. I start off with a lot of values clarification work too. When people are clearer about their values and have language about it, and then how it actually affects their work life, so it really opens up things for people to make better decisions.
Yeah, we do a lot of that in business coaching too. It's always values, vision, and purpose. Yeah,
absolutely. Yep.
And so, who would you say is your ideal client?
My ideal client is somebody who wants a coach, somebody who's really ready to actually have a partner, a thought partner, an accountability partner, a creativity partner, someone who can open up possibilities, really listen to them, understand them, be discerning, fan out a bunch of options, see that they are not stuck, can see their genius and reflect it back to them, and then someone who is able to make a commitment more than 1 or 2 sessions. I'm happy to do 1 or 2 sessions, and it's often very instrumental for people, but the real value comes from in the commitment over time. It doesn't have to be weekly, but it's making a commitment to have that change be realized. So somebody in their 40s and 50s and 60s who has a career sort of like that they're standing on, they've got a foundation, and they want to take it to the next iteration. That's often a person who enjoys coaching and is willing to do it and is ready for it.
Great. And I have a couple questions since we're good on time, and if we can end a bit early, and I'll ask Cory if he has a couple wild card questions too. But one thing the more I learned about coaching, and this was something I noticed about you right away and being very helpful to me when I joined BNI, was you really know how to ask the right questions and read people to kind of move them along. And I just think that's hugely valuable. And I just wanted to get your insights about kind of, to get somebody unstuck, what kind of questions do you go through initially to kind of get them unstuck? Or there's no real template, it really varies by their situation?
Well, it varies significantly, but some really good ones. And it might be helpful for anyone just to do on their own, to journal or to do for reflection or a vision board, is to start asking yourself, when were you at your very best? Think of some times when in your life at any age, when you were at your very best, and what did that feel like? And who was around and what was happening? Maybe nobody else noticed, but you knew in your heart of hearts that you were at your very best. And then start thinking about what were some of the ingredients that came together to make that possible. So the most important part is remembering the feelings, because so many people, when they're stuck, they are so far away from their feeling of best. And so to get them reconnected to their feelings of being at their best, because that's what we're shooting for. We're shooting for more of that. And so if you can remember that, that helps you get started with an energy, a spark, a hope that comes from yourself, doesn't come from me, and you can then start building on it.
Excellent. And I just have one more question, and I'll ask Cory if he has something. I was just curious your take on how BNI has helped you. And I know you provide so much value in our BNI chapter, but that, for example, is the beginning of me getting unstuck. I met people like you in BNI. So there's a lot of people who hang around BNI who can help you get unstuck. But I'm curious about your takes on BNI.
Well, I've always appreciated networking groups, and in the early 2000s, I was president of one for a number of years. It was all voluntary, and it was really well done, and people benefited from it. So I believe in networking. BNI is a little bit more structure than I'm comfortable with, but I go along. And it is, it's a place for me to be with top-notch people in their individual fields, which I love. I love working with every industry, every kind of role. And so I'm stimulated by everyone's individual way they're in the world of work with their own businesses or being part of another business. And I'm just energized by the collaboration and the learning that everyone gives to each other, as well as the support. Great people.
Great. Cory, did you have any other follow-up questions? I know I actually find the best interviews are the ones that are the shortest in terms of keeping moving. So I love ending early, and we don't always do that. But Cory, do you have any follow-up for Louise?
I really don't. We've talked before. I mean, if there's anything that she has to follow up on too, open to discussion. It's always good to have.
Well, just this morning, I was reading an article in Forbes magazine about the top 25 jobs that are here, that are really hot, and they're going to be here for more than just a blink. Mm-hmm. And I just, some of them are surprising. And if I just run down like a few of them, I think you'd be interested. One is vaccine specialist. Whoa, of course, don't even think about it, but yes. Then diversity and inclusion manager, because everyone needs more of that, no matter what. Then there's the customer marketing manager. And that's a person between marketing and customer service. And oftentimes I've seen there's a gap that the customer and the marketing people don't really connect as much as they can. And so the customer marketing manager focuses on really special things that the customer will like awards and events. That's really interesting. Then there's machine learning engineer, always a good one, more and more important. Process development scientist for making things more efficient. And then business development representative. So that's not just the salesperson, but it's the next level up. So sales is becoming more and more important, as we all know. And then, search marketing manager, user experience researcher. A lot of my clients, particularly women, want to get into user experience design and adding the emotional intelligence to the technology. And then what's getting more and more needed now is the researcher, who's the next step up. It's fascinating.
Very interesting. And that was something I've always done in my career. And I've made various pivots and even full career changes, is really look at what are those emerging markets, like where is this work world going, that because you want to go into a growing sector, maybe cryptocurrency, or for example, if you got in with Apple on the ground floor before Apple was Apple, or so that's very interesting to think about. And that could help somebody get unstuck to say, well, I could do that job, based on, because so many of these skills just transfer right over to something else.
Right. And these days, training is more and more available online. So you don't have to do a big expense or big time commitment to actually spiff yourself up to get, to develop your skills, as Cory pointed out.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on, and we're going to end it there for our first segment of Quantum Leap. And stay tuned. We do have our sales discussion coming up in about 5 or 10 minutes here with Cory and Pradna Leitner. So thanks so much, Louise. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, gentlemen. Really very nice. Enjoyed it. Thank you.
Thank you, bud.